Josephine, why do you want to break up with me? Ose's voice crackled as he held onto Josephine's hands, his tear-stained cheeks glistening under the dim apartment light. Josephine pulled her hands away, turning her back to him. The state of the apartment told of a fight that must have ensued. I cannot continue to live with a poor guy, she said, her voice dripping with scorn, as she threw a lamp to the ground. You can't keep trashing our home, Josephine, Ose said, his voice steadying as he stood up to pick the lamp, although it didn't change the mess in the room. Ose, she said, her eyes softening briefly as she looked at him. Come here. You know I love you, right? She asked, her gaze piercing through him. I love you too, Josephine. Please, just be patient with me. I will get a better opportunity soon. I've been applying. I know something will click soon, he pleaded, desperation lacing his words. This was their usual routine. Ose and Josephine had known each other since secondary school. She resumed the school when the students were already in second term, and as Josephine walked into class that day, Ose thought she was the most beautiful girl in the world. The universe seemed to think so too, cause the two were paired seatmates and partners in most of the subjects for assignments. Ose was too shy to act on his feelings, but the day he heard Jude, a fellow classmate, was going to, shy Ose had waited outside in the rain in front of Josephine's house, hoping to see her come out so he could ask her out before Jude snatches her. Despite being one of the most sought-after girls, she had accepted to date Ose. She never allowed him forget how sought-after she was, and how on a good day he was lucky to have her. Throughout university, Ose did everything to please Josephine, even agreeing to move in together. Maybe if I looked different, she would love me easily, Ose often thought. But Josephine was never loyal to Ose. Something he felt, but could never prove until one day, Ose had returned from one of his part-time jobs as a nighttime security man. He knocked until his hands hurt, but Josephine didn't wake up to let him in. He sat at the foot of the door to sleep a bit, but was soon awoken by the scent of a man's cologne. As he looked up, he saw a man walking out from the door he had been knocking on all morning, and a sleepy Josephine who threw a wave at the man and pretended not to see Ose. Ose, who had never picked fights with Josephine, didn't know how to start, so he just stared as Josephine went into the shower. She quickly got dressed, pulled out her luggage like she had been preparing this blow for a long time, and left without a word. This time, Ose didn't beg. He couldn't cry. He was just there, seated on the bed tiles, still wearing his uniform. After all these years, it ended like this. Josephine was never good for him, he knew it, but his love for her never allowed him to move on. Determined not to dwell on his pain, Ose decided to work on his graphics designing portfolio. As he worked, he began to feel drowsy. He stepped away from the computer, returning with a cup of coffee in hand. Nepa took the light. Nepa self, he exclaimed, as he sat back in the darkness. Just like that, he saw a little spark of light on his socket. He hurried to turn it off to prevent damaged appliances. As he touched the switch, a jolt went through his body and everything went dark. A minute for a quick shout out to these amazing viewers. Thank you for leaving this positive comment. It really makes my day and keeps me going. And to get a chance for a shout out like this, just leave behind a positive comment and I will be sure to give you a shout out in the next video. Now back to the story. Ose found himself in a strange place. His body felt different, lighter, and there was a soft sandy ground beneath him. He opened his eyes slowly, adjusting to the bright sunlight. Two beautiful women, their skin glowing under the sun, were leaning over him, their expressions a mix of curiosity and concern. Is he alive? One of the women asked, her voice soft and melodic. The waves must have brought him here, the other woman said, as she bent over to open his eyelids. Ose woke up, blinking in confusion. At first, he didn't understand why something itched his back, or why two women were looking at him like a fish out of water. And most especially, what sort of dream would have women dressed this way? "He's awake," the first woman shouted. Just as these words left her mouth, more similarly dressed women came, some assisting him to sit upright. What a beautiful dream, Ose thought. Beautiful clear water, stunning women. The women around him giggled and helped him to his feet. "Welcome to the kingdom of naked women," one of them said with a grin. Ose's confusion deepened, but he found himself smiling at the absurdity. As he tried to comprehend his surroundings, the women introduced themselves one by one, each with a name more exotic and charming than the last. "I am Naila," said a woman with bright green eyes and an athletic build. "And I'm Zara," said another, a voice calm and soothing, with long flowing hair and a gentle smile. Ose couldn't help but chuckle. "Is this some sort of prank? Where am I?" Naila laughed, a sound that echoed like music. "No prank, Ose. You're in the kingdom of naked women." Ose's eyes widened. "The kingdom of what?" Zara nodded, her expression serene. "It's true. You're safe here, but we should get you settled." As they walked through the lush tropical landscape, Ose noticed how everything seemed vibrant and alive. The trees swayed gently, their leaves whispering secrets, while exotic birds with brilliant plumage flitted through branches. "How did I get here?" Ose asked, still bewildered. He realized he didn't need his glasses here. "I can see," he thought. "The waves must have brought you here," Naila said, with a shrug. "It's rare, but sometimes people from your world end up here." "And what do they do here?" Ose asked, his curiosity piqued. "Whatever they wish," Zara replied with a smile. "This place is about finding peace and happiness." Over the next few days, Ose realized he looked different in this world. His physical features were not his. Ose's life was a hilarious blur. The women, fascinated by his presence, asked him all sorts of questions about his world. They showed him how to navigate their strange and beautiful land. In turn, he shared stories of his life, his struggles, and his dreams. Despite the initial awkwardness, Ose found himself gaining confidence. The women admired his skills and kindness. They encouraged him, making him laugh at his own awkwardness and teaching him to see his worth beyond his failures. One morning, Naila burst into Ose's hut with a boundless energy. "Wake up, sleepyhead. We're going on an adventure." Ose groaned, rubbing his eyes. "What time is it?" "Time to explore," Naila said, pulling him out of bed. "Come on. There's a waterfall nearby that I want to show you." Ose found himself dragged along, unable to resist Naila's infectious enthusiasm as they hiked through the dense jungle. Naila regaled him with tales of our adventures, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "You know, this place is incredible," Ose said, marveling at the vibrant flora and fauna around them. Naila grinned. "Wait until you see the waterfall." When they finally reached their destination, Ose was awestruck. The waterfall cascaded down from a great height, creating a misty spray that caught the sunlight, forming rainbows in the air. The pool at the bottom was clear and inviting. "Come on," Naila said, already stripping down to dive in. Ose hesitated for a minute before following her lead. The water was cool and refreshing, washing away his worries as they swam. Naila challenged him to races and playful splashes, their laughter echoing off the rocks. Afterward, they sat on a large rock, basking in the sun. Nyla turned to Ose, her expression serious for once, Ose, you got a lot of potential. You just need to believe in yourself. Ose felt a warmth in his chest. Thanks, Nyla. I really needed to hear that. Anytime, she said, flashing her signature grin. The next day, Zara invited Ose for a different kind of adventure. A serene boat ride on the lake. Unlike Nyla's energetic approach, Zara's plan promised a calm and introspective experience. As they paddled out onto the lake, Zara's gentle presence put Ose at ease. The water was so still that it mirrored the sky perfectly, creating an illusion of floating in the clouds. This place is amazing, Ose said, breaking the peaceful silence. Zara smiled softly. It is. It's a place for reflection and healing. Ose found himself opening up to Zara in a way he hadn't with anyone else. He talked about his struggles, his heartbreak, and his dreams. Zara listened intently, her eyes filled with empathy. You've been through a lot, Ose, she said softly. But you're stronger than you think. Her words touched Ose deeply. Thank you, Zara. You got a way of making everything seem better. Zara's smile widened. I'm glad. You deserve to find peace and happiness. As they continued their serene journey, Ose felt a sense of tranquility he hadn't known in a long time. The calmness of the lake and Zara's soothing presence made him feel cherished and understood. Ose's newfound confidence and the growing bond with Nyla and Zara did not go unnoticed. The other women in the kingdom began to tease him playfully about his admirers. Looks like someone has caught the attention of our two most beautiful ladies, one of them joked, nudging Ose with a knowing smile. Caught between their offers, Ose felt a mix of excitement and anxiety. He didn't want to hurt either of them, but he also didn't know how to choose. Seeing his dilemma, Nyla and Zara decided to settle it with a playful competition, each showcasing what made their proposal unique. The women of the kingdom gathered to watch the friendly competition, their laughter and cheers creating a festive atmosphere. Ose couldn't help but feel grateful for the support and encouragement from everyone around him. The first challenge was a race through the jungle. Nyla and Ose dashed through the trees, leaping over roots and ducking noble branches. Nyla's competitive spirit was contagious, and Ose found himself pushing harder than he had ever before. By the time they reached the finish line, both of them were breathless and grinning from ear to ear. Next, Zara led Ose to a peaceful spot by the lake, where they sat with sketch pads and pencils. Zara encouraged Ose to draw whatever came to mind, and he found himself sketching scenes from his life, both happy and sad. As he walked, Zara's calm presence made him feel comfortable and inspired. As the competition continued, Ose realized that both women brought out different but equally important aspects of him. Nyla's adventurous spirit pushed him to new heights, while Zara's gentle nature helped him find peace and understanding. The unspoken rivalry between Nyla and Zara intensified, each of them trying to outdo the other in their unique ways. The friendly competition became a way for them to express their feelings for Ose, and he couldn't help but feel flattered and overwhelmed. One evening, after a particularly intense challenge, Ose sat by the fire with Nyla and Zara. The stars above twinkled brightly, casting a magical glow over the scene. Nyla, Zara, Ose began, his voice filled with emotion. I don't know how to thank you both for everything you've done for me. You've showed me sides of myself I never knew existed. Nyla grinned, her eyes sparkling in the firelight. It's been a blast, Ose. You're a great guy, and we're lucky to have you here. Zara nodded, her expression serene. You've brought a lot of joy to our kingdom, Ose, and I think you found a bit of yourself here too. Ose felt a warmth in his chest as he looked at both of them. I think I have, and I'm grateful to both of you for helping me see that. As the competition drew to a close, the women of the kingdom decided to celebrate with a grand feast. The preparations were elaborate, with everyone contributing their best dishes and decoration. Ose marveled at the vibrant colors and delicious aroma that filled the air. The women danced and sang, their laughter ringing out joyfully. It was a night of celebration, friendship and love. Naila and Zara, despite their rivalry, joined forces to make the evening unforgettable. They danced with Ose, their movements graceful and free. Ose felt a sense of belonging and happiness that he hadn't felt in a long time. As the night wore on, Ose found himself seated between Naila and Zara, their hands resting on his shoulders. The three of them shared stories and laughter, the bond between them growing stronger. You know, I've learned so much from both of you, Ose said, his voice filled with gratitude. You've helped me see my worth and believe in myself. Naila grinned, a competitive edge softened by genuine affection. You're pretty amazing, Ose, don't forget that. Zara's smile was warm and reassuring. You have a bright future ahead of you, Ose. We're just glad we could be part of your journey. Ose felt a deep sense of contentment as he looked at his two friends. Thank you, Naila. Thank you, Zara. I'll never forget this place or the lessons I've learned here. Just as Ose was about to express his gratitude further, a peculiar humming noise filled the air, growing louder by the second. The women around him began to look around in confusion and concern. What's that sound? Ose asked, his heart pounding. Naila and Zara exchanged worried glances. We don't know, Naila said, her voice tinged with fear. It's never happened before. The humming grew louder, and the ground beneath them began to tremble. The women of the kingdom started to fade away, their forms becoming translucent and ghostly. Ose, Zara called out, her voice echoing as she reached for him. Hold on! But Ose felt himself being pulled back, as if an invisible force was dragging him away. He tried to resist, but it was no use. The world around him blurred and spun, the vibrant colors fading into darkness. Ose woke up with a jolt, back in his dark apartment. The power was back on. Groggy and disorientated, he glanced at his computer. An email notification blinked on the screen. He opened it. Congratulations, Ose, it read. We are pleased to offer you the position of graphic designer at our firm. Ose stared at the screen, a smile slowly spreading across his face. It had all been a dream, but the impact was real. He felt a newfound sense of confidence and determination. Thank you, he whispered, to the kingdom of naked women, wherever they were. With a renewed spirit, Ose embraced the new chapter of his life, ready to take on the world, cherishing the lessons Naila and Zara had given him. On the first day at his new job, Ose felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. He walked into the office with his head held high, determined to make the most of this opportunity. His new colleagues greeted him warmly, and his boss, Mr. Okoro, was impressed with his portfolio. Welcome to the team, Ose. We are glad to have you on board, Mr. Okoro said, shaking his hand firmly. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I'm excited to be here, Ose replied, his voice steady and confident. As he settled into his new workspace, Ose found a sense of pride and accomplishment. Throughout the day, Ose's thoughts often drifted back to the kingdom of naked women. He could almost hear Naila's laughter and Zara's soothing voice, their encouragement echoing in his mind. Focus, Ose, he told himself, smiling at the memories. You got this. During lunch, as Ose walked into the break room, he met a beautiful young lady who walked up to him, striking up a conversation. She was a fellow designer. Her name was Amina. Her smile helped Ose feel so relaxed he could tell she wasn't faking it. They quickly discovered they had a lot in common. "You want a cup, new guy?" Amina asked, taking a seat next to Ose in the break room. As she placed a cup of hot tea in front of him. "Yeah, thank you," Ose replied, offering her a smile. "Welcome. How are you finding it so far?" Amina's eyes sparkled with curiosity. "It's been good. Everyone has been really welcoming," Ose said. Amina nodded. "If you ever need any help or just want to chat, feel free to come by my desk." "Thanks, Amina. I appreciate it," Ose said. As they chatted, Ose felt a renewed sense of belonging. He realized that the lessons he learned in the kingdom of naked women had prepared him well for this chapter in his life. As weeks turned into months, Ose found himself thriving at his new job. His confidence grew with each project, and his colleagues began to admire his creativity and dedication. One day, as he was presenting a design concept to the team, Mr. Okoro pulled him aside. "Ose, I've been very impressed with your work. We would like to offer you a more permanent position here, with more responsibilities and opportunities for growth." Ose's eyes widened in surprise. "Thank you, sir. I'll be honored." Mr. Okoro smiled. "You've earned it, Ose. Keep up the good work." As he walked back to his desk, Ose felt a sense of fulfillment and pride. One evening, after a long day at work, Ose sat on his balcony, gazing up at the stars. He thought about the kingdom of naked women and the lessons he had learned there. "Naila, Zara," he whispered, a smile playing on his lips. "Thank you for everything." As he said this, Nepa took delight. "Nepa!" The entire neighborhood yelled as Ose looked over at the socket in the balcony where he had connected his laptop. He saw a jolt of light and... Please like, share, subscribe if you haven't already, and as always, I'll see you in my next video.